What is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my Blu-ray DVD collection for 2020 and Comedy Part 1. So let's get started. Up first we have 21 Jump Street from 2012. Yeah, good film starring Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. I also got the sequel, 22 Jump Street from 2014. Not as good as the first one, but still pretty decent. Up next we have 30 Minutes or Less from 2011 with Jesse Eisenberg, Danny McBride, Aziz Ansari, and Nick Swardson. Alright, up next we have 40 Days and 40 Nights from 2002. Yeah, a good funny movie with Josh Hartnett and Shannon Sossamon. Alright, up next we have The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Double Your Pleasure edition from 2005. Fantastic, hilarious film with Steve Carell, Seth Rogen, Jane Lynch, Elizabeth Banks, Leslie Mann, Paul Rudd, of course. Yeah, really one of the films that launched the Judd Apatow era in the mid-2000s. Up next we have 50-50. Yeah, really underrated film from 2011 with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Anna Kendrick, who I always enjoy, and Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah, I really like that film a lot. Up next we have 200 Cigarettes from 1999 with Ben Affleck and Kate Hudson, I think, were the biggest stars in this at the time. Yeah, good fun movie about New Year's Eve. Alright, up next we have Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein from 1948. The only Abbott and Costello film that I have, 100th anniversary. It's Universal's 100th anniversary. Alright, up next we have Action Point from 2018 with Johnny Knoxville. Not bad. Up next we have another classic, Adam's Rib from 1949 with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Up next we have Adventureland from 2009. Yeah, really fun movie, again with Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart, Ryan Reynolds, Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader. Like that film a lot. Up next we have Airplane from 1980, film I watched during my 24-hour movie marathon a few weeks ago. Yeah, just a classic. Up next we have Amélie, or Le Fabuleux Destination d'Amélie, the full title. Fantastic film starring Audrey Tautou, directed by Jean-Jacques Arnaud. Absolutely beautiful, funny movie. Alright, up next we have American Splendor from 2001 with Paul Giamatti, or 2003, sorry. Okay, up next we have Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, of course with Will Ferrell, all-star cast, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, Vince Vaughn, Jack Black makes a great appearance. Just a classic, one of the funniest movies of the past 20 years. And I also got the sequel, of course, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Not as good as the original from 2013. Christina Applegate, great in the first one as well. Next we have Animal House from 1978. National Lampoon's Animal House, of course, with John Belushi. Yeah, young Kevin Bacon. Absolutely love this film. Just hilarious. Up next we have Arsenic and Old Lace from 1944. Great Cary Grant classic. Up next we have Bachelor Party from 1984. Early Tom Hanks film with Adrian Zmed. Up next we have Bad Mums from 2016 with Mila Kunis. I feel like I'm about to sneeze, obviously. Excuse me. Alright. Moving on. Up next we have Bad Teacher from 2011 with Cameron Diaz. Justin Timberlake and Jason Segel. And up next we have Bad Words, a really funny movie with Jason Bateman from 2014, sort of a darker comedy if you like. Alright guys, moving on. Up next we have Barton Fink from 1991, underrated Coen Brothers film with John Turturro and John Goodman. Then we have Baywatch Extended Cut from 2017 with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, of course, Zac Efron, Alexandra Daddario, love her. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I think it got a lot of flack, but I thought it was really funny. Up next we have Beautiful Girls from 1996, fantastic movie with Matt Dillon and Timothy Hutton, a really young, fantastic performance by Natalie Portman. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, Mira Sorvino. Fantastic cast, just a great movie. Next we have Bedazzled, the remake from 2000 with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley. Not great, but a fun movie, and Elizabeth Hurley is just gorgeous in that film. Up next we have Being John Malkovich, one of my favorite films of the 90s, from 1999. Just a fantastic film, directed by Spike Jonze, with John Cusack, Cameron Diaz, and Catherine Keener. Also have that on Criterion Collection. Okay, up next we have the Beverly Hills Cop films with Eddie Murphy, of course. The first one, the best, from 1984. Beverly Hills Cop 2 from 1987. And the not so great Beverly Hills Cop 3 from 1994. Alright, up next we have The Big Lebowski, of course, fantastic Coen Brothers film with Jeff Bridges as the dude, John Goodman, Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, John Turturro, just a brilliant film. Alright, up next we have Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure from 1989, of course with Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, and George Carlin. I don't have the sequel, and of course the new one, Bill and Ted Face the Music, is getting a lot of pub recently. That's coming out soon, so looking forward to that. Alright, up next we have the Oscar winner Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Yeah, great film by who was it? Yeah, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, Michael Keaton, fantastic, Zach Galifianakis, Ed Norton, Andrea Riseborough, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts, fantastic film. Alright, up next we have Blended from 2014. Yeah, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Not as good as their previous collaborations like 50 First Dates and The Wedding Singer, but I still enjoyed it. Oh, make sure that goes back in the right place. That seems to be a problem of mine. Next we have Blockers from 2018. Yeah, not as good as I thought it could have been with Leslie Mann, John Cena. Still pretty funny. Up next we have the Blues Brothers from 1980, 25th anniversary edition. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, just a classic. I feel like the camera is going to slip out of my hands. That's why I'm trying to adjust myself here. Borat, 2006, and Cultural Learnings of America from Make Benefit of Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen, one of the funniest movies of the 2000s. Okay, up next we have Born Yesterday from 1950 with William Holden and Judy Holliday. Up next we have Bowfinger from 1999, fantastic movie with Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy. Great movie about making movies, and really one of the last great things that Eddie Murphy has done, in my opinion. Love that film. Up next we have The Breakup from 2006. Yeah, pretty decent, fun film with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston. Up next on Blu-ray we have Bridesmaids, of course, from 2011. Fantastic, fun movie with Kristen Wiig. Melissa McCarthy, she's hilarious. Rose Byrne. Yeah, really funny movie. Up next we have Bringing Up Baby from 1938, Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant classic. Also have this on Criterion Collection. Up next we have Bruce Almighty from 2003 with Jim Carrey. Yeah, Morgan Freeman, of course, playing God. Really fun movie. Alright, up next we have The Burbs from 1989, Tom Hanks classic, directed by Joe Dante. Absolutely love this film. I've watched it probably 100 times. It's one of the movies I can put on and go to sleep to. Corey Feldman, just wonderful. Rick Ducommun, Carrie Fisher as Tom Hanks' wife. I absolutely love The Burbs. Alright, up next we have Burn After Reading from 2008. Not a great film in my opinion. Decent from the Coen brothers with Brad Pitt, Frances McDormand, George Clooney, Tilda Swinton, John Malkovich. Up next, The Cable Guy from 1996, Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick classic. Up next we have The Campaign. Sorry about the coughing and the sneezing. Somehow I'm a bit stuffed up this morning. Yeah, with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. Up next, Casa De Mi Padre from 2012, I think, something like that, or 2013. Will Ferrell, really fun movie. Sort of a takeoff on Mexican soaps. Next we have Cedar Rapids, the Super Awesome edition from 2011. Yeah, good fun film with Ed Helms, John C. Reilly, Anne Heche, Sigourney Weaver. Next we have The Changeup from 2011, I think, with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. Good fun movie. Sort of a body switching comedy. Always love those. Up next we have Chef from when this came out, I think like 2013 or 14. Yeah, really good film with Jon Favreau about food and food carts. Alright, up next we have Kevin Smith's debut, of course, from 1994, Clerks, absolute classic. Love this film. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and this is probably still my favorite Kevin Smith movie. Also got the sequel, Clerks 2, from 2006. Click, yeah, underrated film from 2006 with Adam Sandler, Kate Beckinsale, and Christopher Walken. Weird movie, but still decent. Up next we have Comedian, 2002 film starring Jerry Seinfeld. Like I mentioned when I talked about B-Movie, this is a good film that he's part of. I like a lot. Get back in there. Alright, up next we have Coming to America from 1988. Absolute classic, of course, with Eddie Murphy. Special Collector's Edition. I believe they're making a sequel to this. I'm not sure when that's coming out, but I've heard a lot about a upcoming sequel. Up next we have Crocodile Dundee. Of course, Paul Hogan classic from 1986. Love this film, especially when I was a kid. And I also got the sequel, Crocodile Dundee 2. Yeah, Linda Kozlowski, absolutely gorgeous in the first film, that's for sure. Alright, up next we have Daddy's Home from 2015 with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. God, I've got a lot of Will Ferrell movies. And I also got the sequel, Daddy's Home 2, that co-starred Mel Gibson and John Lithgow. Up next we have Date Night from 2010. Nice lenticular cover here with Steve Carell and Tina Fey. Up next we have the Descendants. Yeah, fantastic film from 2011 or 10, starring George Clooney. Up next we have Dirty Rotten Scoundrels from 1989, I believe, with Steve Martin and Michael Caine. Excuse me. Up next we have Dodgeball, a true underdog story. Absolute classic from 2004 with Vince Vaughn, Ben Stiller, of course, Justin Long. Yeah, just a hilarious movie. Up next we have Dogma from 1999. Yeah, fantastic. One of my favorite Kevin Smith films with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. The late great Alan Rickman, Jason Lee, Selma Hayek, Chris Rock, and Linda Fiorentino. Alright guys, up next we have the Doom Generation from 1995 with Rose McGowan. Really good and interesting Greg Araki film. Up next we have Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Of course, Stanley Kubrick's 1964 classic with Peter Sellers and George C. Scott, one of my all-time favorite films. Also have the Criterion Collection edition. Up next we have Dragnet from 1987 with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. Up next we have Drinking Buddies from, I don't know, 2011, 2013, something like that. With Jake Johnson, who I enjoy a lot, from New Girl. Anna Kendrick, Olivia Wilde, and Juan Livingston. Up next we have another Universal 100th anniversary classic, Duck Soup, the Marx Brothers from 1933. I think one of a couple Marx Brothers films that I have. Up next we have Dumb and Dumber from 1994, of course, classic Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, New Line Platinum series. Fantastic, hilarious film. Up next we have Dutch from 1991. Yeah, I really love this film with Ed O'Neill and Ethan Embry, or Randall as he was called back then. One of the best Thanksgiving movies. I really enjoyed this film. Up next we have Tim Burton's Ed Wood from 1994. Fantastic film, of course, with Johnny Depp and Martin Landau. Up next we have Edtv from 1998. Yeah, good fun comedy with Matthew McConaughey, Jenna Elfman, Woody Harrelson, and Liz Hurley. Up next, as I just drop it right there, Entourage, the movie on Blu-ray. Big fan of the show, of course. Jeremy Piven is Ari Gold, one of my favorite characters of the 2000s, 2010s. Yeah, I love Entourage. Up next we have Everything Must Go. Yeah, underrated Will Ferrell comedy from like 2011 or so. Up next we have Evolution from 2004, I believe, with David Duchovny, Julianne Moore, I'm a big fan of, and Sean William Scott. Up next we have Fanboys from 2007. Yeah, really fun movie about Star Wars fandom. Kristen Bell. Yeah, really good movie. Up next we have Father of the Bride, the original 1950 version with Spencer Tracy, Joan Bennett, and Elizabeth Taylor. Up next we have A Fish Called Wanda, absolute classic from 1988. 2-disc collector's edition. John Cleese, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Kline, of course, and Michael Palin. Loved that film when I was a kid. Up next we have Fistfight from, I don't know, 2016 or so with Ice Cube and Charlie Day, Tracy Morgan, Jillian Bell. Up next we have Fletch from 1985, Chevy Chase of course, the Jane Doe edition. Up next we have Forgetting Sarah Marshall, hilarious comedy from 2004 with Kristen Bell, Jason Segel, Mila Kunis, Russell Brand. Up next we have Four Rooms from like mid-90s, 1994. Of course, all-star cast, Tim Roth, Antonio Banderas, Madonna. From what I remember, yeah, the last segment is filmed by Quentin Tarantino, which is probably the best one of the four. Up next we have Friday, classic of course, with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker from 1995, deluxe edition, director's cut. And last but not least for this part one, we'll end right here, and that is Fun with Dick and Jane with Jim Carrey and Taya Leone, I think from 2008, 2009, something like that. So that is comedy part one. Up next will be part two, of course. Thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you. Bond. James Bond.